This video is sponsored by Loot Crate.
So Marvel's Darth Vader, I've always been kind of so-so about it. Hey guys, welcome to my Geek Talk. Today we're going to discuss Marvel's Darth Vader number 16 through 19, which is the arc for the Shu-Torun War. It comes right off the heels of Vader Down and the Darth Vader Annual. Particularly, it comes right after the Darth Vader Annual. Well, no, sorry, really Darth Vader Down, but the theme of this comic comes right after the Annual, where it was about Vader going to Shu-Torun, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, the world, where he is mitigating, is that the word? He's stopping a rebellion that's there. He basically kills off all the royalty, all the royal family, except for the youngest daughter, who he appoints as the leader. So now she's dealing with rebels who are still on the planet, this mining company that is basically the heart of that planet, because that's what the Empire wants them for, probably for the second Death Star. They probably need them for their resources and things like that. So they're there. Vader, Palpatine is telling Vader that he needs to go over there and stop that, end it, which Vader does. There is some criticism of Vader, within the comic book itself, like Taji, the guy who's the head of he's kind of the new Tarkin for now. He criticizes Vader and says that he's a great, general. He gets stuff done. He gets battles won, but he doesn't win wars. And I think that's a pretty good commentary on Vader, because I think he is a very good conqueror. He's very good at dismantling and conquering, but he's not that great as a ruler. Like, he's not an emperor, which would have made it interesting if we would have seen like a what if Vader and Luke actually did, come together and rule the galaxy. Like, how good of an emperor would Vader actually be? I actually think he would not be that great of an emperor. I think he's really good as a conqueror, as a general. But I like that commentary was brought up within this comic. It's also fascinating to see how much power Vader has over this queen. She does want to command and respect. She still wants to, have her voice heard, but Vader makes it very clear who is in power. But it's also interesting how she kind of evolves within this comic. She kind of turns into Vader in the way that he rules. Like, if anyone opposes you, just kill him and off him. At the end of the comic, she kills off the head of the mining company that is the heart of their world. And she appoints the daughter to his position, even though within their rule, the first son takes over. But she explains to Vader that placing somebody in who's easy to manipulate is the best way to keep control, which kind of goes against what I was saying before about Vader only being a conqueror and not really being a ruler. And that is a good sign of a good ruler, someone who can not only conquer but control what they have. But more so than not, I think that Vader is more of a conqueror than he is a ruler. Also, I found it kind of weird because Dr. Aphra is gone and missing right now, and Vader puts out a big bounty on her to be found dead or alive. And I'm wondering why Boba Fett isn't involved in this storyline, especially if the sum of her bounty is so huge. You would think Boba Fett would want to get in on that, especially as the best bounty hunter in the galaxy. We've only seen him so far try to get Luke, and he kind of failed at, capturing Luke. He figured out who he was, but it's kind of weird. Like, there's no Boba Fett going on right now. I wonder why that's the case. I was a little bit weirded out, or I didn't really understand what was going on with the twins. Like, one twin, the sister twin, asked Vader to train her because she wants to be better than her brother. But I never understood that conflict they had. That came out of nowhere, and I didn't really understand the ending of that conflict, of why the brother wanted to kill the sister in the first place. Like, wouldn't they want to be together to defeat Vader? I don't know. That storyline didn't feel like it was fully developed, and I think it could have gone a really interesting route with Vader denying her training because of his fascination with Luke Skywalker, his own son. I feel like they could have had like some sort of internal monologue, or at least a thought from Vader that the reason why he doesn't want to train anyone else is because his focus is on Luke, but that never was really brought up. And like I said before, like I've said this over and over whenever I review the Darth Vader comics, the original intention, or at least the way that they were pitching it, was that this was about Vader, kind of finding out about Luke and thinking about Luke. But I don't think there's been enough of that so far. I mean, I like what we have. Like, I think the comic's pretty solid, but I really would like to have gotten more insight into what Vader is thinking about Luke and what he wants to do with Luke and that kind of a thing. But yeah, ultimately, Vader uncovers that Silo is behind everything. He's the one funding and supporting the ore miners who are rebelling, and then he finds out, that he's a traitor and that kind of a thing. But I felt like it was kind of cheap. Like even like the sister, the cybernetic twin sister, her death was kind of cheap. Like, I didn't feel like there was anything, like, I feel like they tried to develop something there, but then it felt just like a cheap way to get to the plot of saying like, oh, Silo's evil, or he's a traitor against the Empire, that kind of a thing. So I didn't feel like that was super strong, but it's uncovered that he's a traitor, and now Vader has told Palpatine that he's a traitor and all that kind of stuff. So maybe in the next one we'll get to see what's going on with that. Palpatine did say that he will reveal everything to Vader. I personally hope we actually get a confrontation between Vader actually knowing that Luke is Luke, like it's Anakin's offspring that he thought was dead, but it's more likely going to be about Palpatine explaining everything about Silo and the cybernetics and all that BS, which I find it's not BS, but it's just not as interesting to me. I don't really care about that. I really care about the Luke relationship. That's the most interesting thing for me for Vader and Palpatine, and the lie that was presented in that situation. But yeah, ultimately I think the comic is solid, but I just think it's not really as interesting or as compelling as I would like it to be. But it is a very solid comic. I will say though, the artwork is very flat to me. It doesn't feel very it doesn't pop. The comic book art doesn't pop. The writing is funny. 000, as always, is funny with his dark humor, like him wanting to do the blood sucking from the humans. I actually think he did blood suck some of the humans, even though Vader told him not to. 000 has his own motives, on his own, even though he's he's a droid and his master is Vader. I think he has his own motivations going on. But yeah, he's always perfect. That part of it's perfect. The dark humor is perfect. But yeah, just there's always something off about the Darth Vader comics for me, and I never really can fully put my hands on it. I think it's just because some of the storylines aren't as developed as I would like them to be, and sometimes the story goes into directions that I just don't really follow along with. But it's still solid, and there are people out there who enjoy this comic, and I think there is joy and something to take away from this comic if you're into Darth Vader or Star Wars or anything like that. Just for me, it just hasn't really landed like perfectly. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you guys for watching my review. Eventually, I will have a top 10 for Darth Vader comics. It's ending after the 25th issue. So once that happens, I'll do a top 10 of the moments that I like the most within the whole series. But that's it, guys. Peace, love, and may the Force be with you. Always.
Luke's open and calm mind allowed for a more adaptable fighting style, while Anakin's reliance on talent and aggression was a bit more rigid.
No, why are you mowing your lawn right now? I'm recording a Let's Play.